So I think there are many things to be optimistic about in the US economy. Um, AI is a thing to be optimistic about. Now, people argue a great deal about whether or not we're in an AI bubble, and I just frankly don't know. But one way or the other, like this is a very useful technology, and it's going to create economic growth. I mean, I code quite a bit in my job, and that sentence wasn't even quite correct because in my job, I need to produce a lot of code. I'm now more of a manager of like LLM coders than I am a coder. And that has cut down the amount of time that I have to spend on coding so much. And so, if we can have some sort of productivity gain of an even somewhat similar sort for the rest of the economy, LLMs could be very important. And it's just going to take time for us to get better at using them. And so that's a reason for optimism. Reasons for pessimism is I think the US political system is becoming more unstable. There are some pretty serious tail risks there. And the US's fiscal position is completely unsustainable. If we stay on our current trajectory, we're heading towards a fiscal crisis, and that will be very painful. So there are some political things to be sorted out, but a lot of the fundamentals are moving in the right direction.
Okay, with that said, is there anything, if you were put in charge to change, that you would change, like that needs to be changed off the bat, like right away?
Yeah, I mean, I would put in place a carbon price. That's an easy one. The US government either needs to cut spending or raise revenue. In general, raising revenue involves distortions, right? Because you have to tax goods and services. That causes a distortion in the economy, which lowers economic output. So there's this trade off normally between the government raising revenue and economic efficiency. The nice thing about taxing something like pollution or a negative externality is that it actually raises efficiency by closing a distortion and raises revenue. So let's do that, right? Like let's get the revenue while also increasing efficiency in the economy. And there's quite a few things that we could be doing something like that for. So my second favorite, less well known thing that I would like to see us start taxing is antibiotic use in agriculture. So we use a huge amount of antibiotics. We use like I think more than 2/3 of total antibiotics in agriculture. And that is a negative externality because we're causing the evolution of antibiotic resistant bacteria. So we should be taxing it for that reason, which again gets the government revenue while improving efficiency. But antibiotics in agriculture are also a cruelty enabling technology. We're able to treat, for example, chickens very poorly because we give them prophylactic antibiotics and then stuff thousands of them in a shed, and they don't get sick because we were giving them so much antibiotics, and they would have got sick had we not. And so I think you could both reduce the cruelty of factory farming and reduce the likelihood of antibiotic resistance and raise revenue by taxing antibiotics. So that seems like nice low-hanging fruit that we could be picking.